Hi, I'm Wes Hobbs with Davis Technical College, and this tutorial is to help you understand how to program and operate the Waterjet cutter for your composites machining program. So the first thing you need to do to prepare the Waterjet cutter for operation is to turn the air line and the water line on to the machine. So the first step is to turn the air line on. This valve right here, just turn it up just like that, and then you'll have the air on to the Waterjet cutter. The second step is to turn the water line to the Waterjet cutter, and that is to operate this valve right here. Just turn it on just like that, and that will send the water to the Waterjet cutter. So the next step is to prepare the abrasive for the machine. So this is the hopper that holds the abrasive, and we keep this cover on it to keep bugs and any kind of trash out of it. So the first thing is to remove this out of the way, and then you'll need to look down into the hopper and make sure that there's plenty of abrasive. You do not want it running out of abrasive during your cut. So once you know that there's abrasive in the machine, lift this up and hold it into place while you turn this valve on. Let the machine fill with air to where this thing is held in place. Once that is done, put the cover back on the machine, because once you're finished cutting and it releases air, you don't want any contaminants to get back into the hopper. And this will actually, this step will be finished. You'll have the hopper ready and the abrasive sending to the machine. The next step is to turn on the electricity to the machine. So you just simply reach down and turn this knob to the on position, and that sends the electricity to the machine. So the next step is to clamp your part in place to prepare it for cut. All right, so we have a sample piece sitting right here. Just make sure that you get it lined up with the machine down here at the bottom. And then we have the clamps, they're already sitting in the machine. Just turn them around and get them in place, and just turn the wing nuts to clamp them in. Make sure that they are far enough away from your cutting area, and just clamp those in place. Make sure the part is level. All right, the next step is to make sure you have the driver power on to the machine. Just simply click this button that turns it on. Make sure that the light turns on, and then make sure you have your flash drive with your cut file inserted into the USB port. All right, now you need to open the FlowCut software, double click it, and let the file load. Once the FlowCut software is loaded, just go to File, click Open, and find your file in the flash drive area. Click that, and we'll open like a snowboard. We'll just open the snowboard file. Let it load. This is going to say multiple Z heights occur. It's okay. Click OK, and then you'll want to go over to this area, put the thickness of your part in. We'll say like 1/2 inch here, and then you'll use this drop down window to tell the computer what type of material you're going to use. It's already cutting graphite epoxy. It's already set for that. You don't need to adjust anything else on this screen. Now you need to go down here, click this button. Everything is defaulted into this setting. Please do not adjust anything in here. Click OK. The next step, you'll click this toggle button, click it, click yes, because it always defaults to this. Everything in here needs to be defaulted unless you're cutting with water only. Click OK, and it will give you a diagram of what it's cutting. You can speed it up by clicking this button, or slow it down here. If you're doing a very elaborate cut, you'll want to slow it down. Make sure everything cuts as it's supposed to. If you're doing a quick cut, speed it up, and the red line shows you the cut. Make sure everything's okay on that. X out of it, and then launch the program by clicking that one. Again, click yes. Wait for the program to load. It tells you the machine needs to be homed. It always needs to be homed when you load a new cut file. Click OK for that, and let it load. Okay, so now you need to home the machine. This is an extremely important process, and if not done correctly, can damage the machine, very easily damaging the cut head, which costs $150 to replace. If you were to damage anything else, it could cost up into the thousands. So we want to make sure this is correct. You will hit the home button right here, and then go to Machine Home since it's the first cut of this cut file. Click OK, and when you click OK, the machine will move. So when you click the Go to Machine Home button, this is an example of what the head will do. It's going to go back to home, make sure there's nothing in the way of it. Once you click OK, it will move on its own. Let it get all the way back to the 0, 0 origin. So the next step is to correctly position the cut head on your part. So we're going to use the directional pad to move it over. Get it over to your part, and then you're going to want to remove the skirt so you can see the cutting orifice. Here's the skirt. It can be dropped into the tank very easily, and it does not float. So make sure you put it off to the side and refrain from dropping it into the tank. So you're going to use the directional pad on the keyboard to move the cut head in the X and Y coordinates. You're going to use the page up and page down buttons to move it in the Z coordinate. Okay, so use the directional pad to set the X and Y coordinates. So you can move it, get it positioned to where you think your part 0, 0 origin is. Once you have it set where you want on the X and Y coordinates, you'll need to position the Z. This is where you can damage the machine, so be very careful. We have this plate made to get the correct measurement distance from your part. You'll use page down to bring the nozzle close to your part. Make sure this piece is out of the way, that way you don't come down too quick and push the nozzle up into the machine. Page down till you get close, check it, page down, check it, page down, check it, page down till it's that close. You got room in there, that's the distance that it needs to be cutting away from the machine, so your Z coordinate is set. So once the X, Y, and Z coordinates are set on the cutting head, you need to tell the machine that that's where you want it to start out at. So you're going to reset the home. Click the home button here, and then set current position as user home. Make sure that is what's clicked. Be careful with this, because if you click anything else, you can damage the cut head. Once you have that clicked, click OK, and the machine is reprogrammed to have a new 0, 0 coordinate of where your part is. So after your new home is set, you're going to need to be able to put the skirt back onto it. So page up, make sure you do not push page down or you can damage the cut head. Page up far enough to where you can put the skirt back on it. Put it back on there and make sure it's snug and tight, and then you'll need to go back to the computer and make it go back to the programmed home. Okay, with the skirt on the cutting head, you just need to go back to the home you just programmed. So you'll click that button again, and you can go to user-defined home or go to the latest user-defined home. I like to go to it. Click it. Make sure you don't click that, because you can damage the machine. Click OK, and the machine will go right back to where it started before. Okay, the next thing you need to do is just to turn the pump on. You very simply hit this little green button, turn the pump on, and then you'll need to look at the gauge and make sure it hits 55 on the gauge, which represents 55,000 PSI. So click that button. You can listen for the pump to turn on. Once the pump is turned on, you need to make sure that it reaches 55,000 PSI before operating the machine. So you need to look at the gauge located behind the water jet and make sure it hits 55, which you can see it right now between 50 and 60. If it's on 55, that represents 55,000 PSI. So once the pump is up at 55,000 PSI, you simply just need to hit the play button right here, and that will start the machine cutting. If there are any problems, immediately hit the escape key on the keyboard and go grab an instructor for help.